Run it back, Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros.
With Joel Embiid not being 100% once again, if they go against Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals and they lose, do you think Joel Embiid's health is still enough of an excuse for the ownership to not fire Doc Rivers? And do you even think they should consider firing Doc Rivers? You know what I mean? Because the way that he coached in March and the way that he coached the first round of the playoffs, I'm sitting here like, if Doc Rivers continues to coach like this is all I wanted. All I wanted was for him to coach exactly like this, make the pretty obvious decisions, play Paul Reed. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it just depends how the series goes. If he's playing George Niang like 20 minutes, that could be a fire Doc Rivers. If he stops playing Paul Reed, but if Joel comes out and the injury's obviously affecting him and he has a bad series to his standards, then I think Doc Rivers will probably get off the hook, especially if James Harden kind of has a stinker. But overall, I think Doc's been fine, and think I think he's really good as a locker room coach. Besides his relationship with Paul Reed, I think he's handled the locker room really well because it feels like this is the most chemistry we've had, and I would also give credit to PJ Tucker and James Harden and the improved maturity of Joel Embiid as a leader. I think that's ultimately another reason. Also, Tobias Harris, also George Niang's a good locker room guy. So I feel like Doc, unless he starts making incoherent decisions like playing George Niang, all bench lineups, he
Yeah.
wouldn't be fired.
Yeah, I think Doc Rivers handles certain things the wrong way, and that's, as long as there's nothing in front of him that he could possibly mishandle, then I think he's fine. He steps into the Sixers with the Ben Simmons situation. Everybody's expecting, hey, we finally have a veteran coach who's going to make this kid shoot the ball and stop playing like this. And Doc comes in day one and says, I don't care if he shoots the ball. And we're all like, what? That's not what was supposed to happen here. And then he argues with the media for a whole season about Ben Simmons, or 2 seasons, whatever. And so, yeah, he handled the Ben Simmons thing completely wrong, I think. And the Paul Reed situation, he was still like, this kid's just too young, had too much of a like flyer when you put him on the court. You don't know what you're going to get necessarily. His offensive game is raw, and he just never trusted him enough. And he would get scared in the biggest games, in the biggest moments, to put Paul Reed on the floor instead of just, we're getting smoked at the rim. We need a little bit of a spark here. We need somebody that can grab a rebound. Just put Paul Reed on the floor. So I think he handled the Paul Reed thing wrong the whole time too. But now it seems like there's no Ben Simmons situation for him to mess up. He knows who his point guard is. He knows Tyrese Maxey and Harden, and maybe Shake plays, maybe he doesn't, but mostly he's staggering Tyrese and James Harden as the primary ball handlers. And he's decided, it seems, finally, that Paul Reed is the backup center. So I'm like, all the things Doc was mishandling, it seems like they're finally not here. So he would have to create something else to really get back into that, like, I want this guy completely up out of here thing. If he does, if he does do something in the Celtics series where they're getting owned on the boards or something, and he randomly goes like Niang and Tobias Harris at the 4 and the 5, and the Celtics blow us out, then yeah. So it definitely depends on his decision making in the second round. But if he does what he did against the Nets, I'm not even mad at Doc Rivers anymore. I just need this team to be healthy and we can beat anybody.
Yeah. I mean, I think James Harden's a big X factor because I thought he had a good series against Brooklyn besides the whole finishing around the rim thing. Obviously, that's a big thing when you're James Harden. But other than that, he was a great point guard and he was hitting his 3-pointers. So if you could just figure out how to have some touch around the rim, get to the foul line a little more, even though he has a non-existent whistle for whatever reason. But I mean, Marcus Smart, I don't know if you see him, but he looks hurt out there. Al Horford is getting cooked by Trae Young. Obviously, Trae Young is way faster than James Harden, but in the pick and roll, Al Horford looks not like himself, not like he did last year. And James Harden's going to get a lot of opportunities against Al Horford because at times they're going to switch everything. And if James Harden can hit a step back three in big moments, I just need Harden hitting at least one big shot a game. I don't even need him to be efficient. I need him to be a point guard, limit turnovers, get other guys shots, and hit big shots. Not even you can go 3 of 17, but at least give me one 3-pointer. He did that last week against Brooklyn. I think it was game 3. He was terrible, but he had a clutch step back 3 on Nick Claxton, and it gave the Sixers a 7-point lead. And Joel Embiid was off the floor, so it guaranteed when Joel Embiid came back in the game, the Sixers had the lead. That's what I need from Harden. I don't even need him to be efficient. I just need him to limit those turnovers, be a point guard, and hit your 3-pointers. And also don't just not shoot, because last year against the Heat in the last game, he just did not want to shoot. He didn't want to drive. And although he was inefficient in the Brooklyn Nets series, I love that he just kept driving. He kept failing. He kept shooting threes. Just keep shooting. I don't care if you miss. But what we don't need is another PJ Tucker on the court who doesn't really want to shoot unless he's wide open. That's what I want from Harden.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, you don't need him to be some kind of superstar. You need him to be the facilitator that he is. I completely agree with that. And just, if he could finish a layup, that'd be nice too. You want to keep the defense collapsing. It'll get to the point where the defense isn't even going to collapse if you can't make a layup. That kind of takes his drive and kick game away. I think Tyrese Maxey, and I still don't put any pressure on Tyrese Maxey at 22 years old. I think if he's doing these things that I think he needs to work on at 27, then you would be like, he's just a role player. He's not going to be anything else. But right now, people telling me he's just a role player. He's not going to be anything else. You can't say that. He's 22 years old. But I think the one thing that he still needs to work on is just when he's missing shots in the first quarter, it affects his confidence throughout the rest of the game. And then he's not he doesn't have that killer instinct. He's not trying to go one-on-one. There was a lot of times where he had Seth Curry one-on-one in those Brooklyn games. And I'm go, 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 go. And he's backing up, passing the ball back to Harden, who had Claxton on him. I'm like, what are we doing here? Or Cam Johnson on him. I'm like, you got the mismatch. Go, 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 go. But I think he'll get that over time. He doesn't have to have that right now. But, if he just shows that killer instinct throughout the Celtics series that we need him to show, man. Yeah, we can take on Boston, man.
He's gonna have a few bad games for sure against Boston because of their length at the rim, but hopefully he has more good games than bad games. That's what we need from every player.